Good morning, guys. It's Amber. I'm back with another video. I still have no idea what I'm doing, so just bear with me. I'm still thinking of channel names, logos, intros, theme songs, and things like that. But if you guys could hit that likes, comment, or subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. I really want to do this for the long term. I don't know how long I'm going to do it, but my goal is to put out one video a day. Knock on wood, God willing, but there's something that I've always wanted to talk about, but I think I've been too afraid to do it publicly just because it's such a sensitive topic. And always because I was in fear of, I would say in fear of retaliation. Something that I think I struggle with a lot in corporate settings is code switching and racism. I've always struggled with it. I've been working since I was like, I would say probably like 17, 18, 19 years old. I'm 30 now, so it's been like 10 plus years of this kind of building up. But last night, there's a reason why I'm kind of going to this, but last night I had therapy, and my therapist and I made a huge breakthrough, and I was like, why didn't I see this before? Like, I kind of knew it, but I didn't realize like the extent of it. And we kind of concluded that work is like basically identical to my childhood, which was pretty traumatizing. Like, it was just trauma after trauma. Any abuse you can think of, verbal, physical, sexual, mental, psychological, I've endured it. And that's why I'm in therapy, because I want to work through it so that way I don't pass it down to my kids. That's really important to me. That's why I waited to have kids, because everyone's like, why don't you and your husband have kids? Your baby will be really cute. And it's like, yeah, the kid is cute, but I don't want to just bring up life into this world. I want to be intentional about the things that I do. I am intentional about the things that I do. And it wouldn't sit right with me to pass on all this stuff that I've inherited without at least trying to untangle some of it and work through it, so that way I'm not a terrible parent. That way I don't spew abuse on them, and that way they're not sitting on a therapist's couch in 20 or 30 years. Like, they're probably not going to be perfect, and they're probably going to have their own issues, and they might have trauma, but I don't want it to be to the extent of how mine is, because it literally takes over every facet of my life, my marriage, my work, the way I perceive myself, anxiety, like always wanting to be perfect, always doubting myself, the thoughts just like never stopping. Like, I barely sleep because I feel like my thoughts are like building blocks or Legos, like they just always pile on top of each other. But anyway, so I was telling her about work and how I put my notice and everything in, and she was just like saying how she's seen so much light in me, that and how much she was like, this is the most I've ever seen you smile. And I was like, she is right. Like, I haven't been happy. I just been like putting on a mask and just kind of going through the motions, been on autopilot, but that hasn't made me happy. So what we realized was that work is like one of my hugest triggers, that I'm basically sitting in an environment that triggers me all day long. And I was like, yeah, I have to code switch, because if I act how I really act, I feel like they wouldn't like me as much, or it wouldn't be safe. Like how I talk in slang, how I'm like super loud, how I'm bubbly, like cuss you out 1 minute and then be like, baby, you want to play? Or like, I love you. I have such a huge personality, like my husband will tell you, but that's, I feel like I have to often assimilate into corporate settings. And usually, unfortunately, I'm one of the only Black people there. And that can be lonely in itself, because I have to like stifle my culture. I have to like adhere to something that doesn't even feel genuine to me. And I knew I was tired, but I was like, I think it's like a psychological tired. Like, I was like, you can be tired from the hustle and bustle, like commuting somewhere every day, 45 minutes, an hour, what have you. You can be tired from work, from school. But I was like, this is a different tired. Like, it's like a fog. Like, I couldn't really sleep, like having nightmares, super stressed out, dreading going into work. Like, me and my husband just went on vacation last month, to the beach. And I'm not trying to bash my current employer. I'm still there, but I'll be gone next week. But I did not want to go back. I was so drained. I just like was thinking about just taking all my stuff and just not coming back at all, like, which is so bad, because these people really took a chance on me and believed in me, even though I'm pretty junior in my HR career. But I was thinking about going to work every day when I was on vacation, and I should have been more focused in the moment and present, enjoying those key memories with my husband. Not that I didn't, because it was actually an amazing trip. Like, I felt like we connected so well on that trip, and it just made me see how much we've grown, because we've been together for 6 years, but his family has like a beach condo. So we went 3 times so far. Most of the family, like, we can use it, but then they also rent it out to kind of earn income on it, which is pretty genius, I think. But the first time we went, we were dating. The second time we went, we were about to get engaged, and now we're married. So it was like kind of a nice culmination on like a timeline of our relationship. But also, I feel more secure with my husband. I just feel more safe, like more like not in my head, not questioning how much he loves me, not questioning like my worth in the relationship. And I was like, damn, like we really stuck it out. Because at first I was like, I don't know. Like I was very apprehensive because he just was so nice and he was so sweet, and I never had someone like him, and I didn't know what to do. I don't think I was able to receive the love that he was trying to give me, so it's just like a wall. But anyway, we kind of figured out that I was super triggered at work, and I realized it with this job. Like, I would internalize stuff and it would make me fly off the handle, like inside. Like, I would try to cover up as well as I could, but I was like really crying a lot, getting so fucking mad, getting like really angry and like stewing in it, like to the point I can't even see straight. And I was like, what is this? Like, feeling left out, feeling discounted, feeling lonely, feeling like I have to, like I'm not safe, and like I have to constantly put my head like on a swivel or like look over my shoulder. And nobody was deliberately doing anything. And I realized too, like I struggle with authoritative figures in the workspace, especially men. Like if they're like my manager or supervisor, and I realized that's definitely like correlated to my dad, like because me and him have a rocky relationship. But I always felt like I was seeking his approval and his validation, and his love was very conditional. Like I could not get his love unless I did something that benefited him or made him look good. And I realized I do that at work. I would make myself small, crawl into a shell, and like I it was draining, like trying to keep up with it and trying to be the happy black girl, try not to show any anger, try not to show any negative emotion. And then when I was down, everyone was like, well, you're not bubbly, you're not happy. But it's like, y'all can't depend on me to carry or bring the light in this department. Like, you guys have to do it yourself. You can't depend on me. And I think that's another thing that Black women deal with. If we show something opposite of joy or bubbliness or like jubilation or like euphoria, then it's like, oh, she got an attitude. And it's like, I'm human too. I'm going to go through my moments. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to cry. I'm not going to be as talkative. I'm going to go into my shell because that's where I feel safest. I feel like a little hermit crab. Like, I just kept crawling into my shell. I was very lonely at my job. Again, not that anyone did anything. I just, certain things made me feel that way to the point that I felt like I had to crawl into myself. And my therapist was like, the reason you can't heal is because you're stuck. It felt like I was just in a loop. And I kept thinking, what is it? I thought it was me because I was like, why can't I get my confidence up? Why am I doubting myself so much? Why don't I believe in myself more? Like, why don't I love myself more? And I thought it was me, like a mind thing. Like, oh, if I knew if I could just get some more confidence, I was going to be okay. Like, all the things that I wanted, they were right at my fingertips. But, I thought there was some more healing that I needed to do. I did not realize how work was the biggest probably stressor. Like everything in my life, everything else in my life felt like it had fallen into place. Like I found a really great guy. I bought a house. I have good relationships with my family. I made like my tribe, like my support system is rock solid. Like if I call any of them right now, they're like, where are you at? What time you need me there? Like there's no question. Like we have very good family and friends. But it was just like that one little thing, and it was like, you should be doing your art. But I was like, I need money. Like, I need to survive. I feel like so many creatives struggle with this because you're like, I want to be creative. I want to use my gifts. But I don't know if my gifts are going to bring me passive income. I don't know if I can pay my rent. I don't know if I can pay that debt or that car note or for school. It's very scary. Like, me and my husband had this conversation last night, and he was like, it's scary. Like, you not having a job, that second income, like, it's almost like 50% of the household. So, it puts stress on him. It puts burden on him. And I recognize that. But I'm like, I told him, I was like, I feel so free. I was like, I get to create my own destiny. I get to not be triggered every day. I was like, I'm probably going to be so much happier. Like, I'm probably not going to be as sad. I'm probably not going to be as anxious. I'm probably not going to be as depressed and just like heavy and on autopilot because I get to wake up every day and choose what I want to do. I get to follow my dream instead of someone else's. And to me, that's satisfying. The money and stuff will come later, but it is so hard stepping out on faith. I'm like this. I'm like Stevie Wonder. I don't know where I'm landing, but I know I'm not gonna fall, if that makes sense. Like I know I'm gonna land gracefully on my feet. I know I'm covered. I know God is looking out for me. I know the universe is conspiring for me as well as my ancestors. So I'm not worried. Like, it's so strange. Usually I'm a worry board. I overthink everything. But for this, I'm like, this is the first time I actually trust my decision and listening to myself more. So anyway, that was my long TED talk. So I wanted to share this scene from Get Out because I was explaining to my therapist. My therapist is white, but she literally holds space for me as a Black woman. She'll be like, I acknowledge that I haven't gone through that, but I can see how this has made you tired. I can see how this has added more stress. I can see how this has taken a toll on you. Like, one of our first sessions, she was like, I see you. And if you want to talk about how culturally is different for you and there's triggers and things that I don't know, we can talk about it. And she makes so much space for me. I freaking love her. I hope like I don't lose her because I'm not gonna have insurance. But anyway, I told her, I was like, have you seen that movie Get Out? And she was like, yes. I was like, do you remember the scene where the maid Georgina had unplugged Chris's phone, Daniel Kaluuya's character, and he was like, you good? And she, no, no, no. But she's like smiling, but there's tears coming down. Like, it's so eerie. I was like, that's how I feel every day at work. Any job I've worked, I felt like that. And I've worked so many different corporate jobs. TMI, I'm a job hopper. This first sign it gives me mental distress, I'm bouncing. Like, I've gotten better over the years, but my husband would get so mad at me because he'd be like, why don't you just stay? Like, why don't you stick it out? Because he doesn't understand. My husband is white. So there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. And he doesn't mean it in a bad way. He just hasn't experienced it. I was like, you're not a woman and you're not Black. Like, it is what it is. Like, not to bash him or anything. I love my husband to pieces. But I was like, you don't understand what it's like not being yourself all day. It does something to your mind. Like, you're in a fog and a daze. You're just trying to survive. It's that survival mode. And I think a lot of Black people deal with that. And it's not talked about. And I was so hurt when I entered the workforce and did not realize how big of a thing that this was. And then come to find out other Black people are going through this. And not just Black people, Hispanic people, Asian, other, mixed, anybody of color. Like, it is really, really challenging. But I was telling her, I was like, do you remember that scene? I was like, that's how it feels. It feels like you're wearing a mask and you can't take it off. You can only take it off, when 5 o'clock comes or whatever time you get off. But even then, you're so drained from just trying to fit in, trying to assimilate. It is a full-time job working and then a full-time job being Black and working because you're trying so hard not to get out of that line because any wrong move is over for you. Like, so I wanted to go over that scene. And I have it pulled up on my tablet. So if it's kind of ghetto or the audio's off, I apologize. But I want you to watch this so then we can kind of talk about it. But hopefully you can see it good.
I wasn't trying to snitch.
Oops.
Snitch. Rat you out.
Tattletale.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I can assure you, I don't answer to anyone.
Right. All I know is sometimes, if there's too many white people, I get nervous,
Girl, me too. But for real, I always be asking my husband, where the Black people at? Whenever we go somewhere, I don't see no Black. We live in the country, that's why I be asking that. I be getting nervous like a mug. This scene ate me up. I might cry watching it. Look at her face. That pain that she just internalized.
Oh, no.
Oof.
No. No. No, 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 no. Aren't you something? That's not my experience. Not at all. The Armitages are so good to us. They treat us like family.
I hate when companies say that shit because it's about to be some BS and that rules don't apply to you. Girl, that scene ate me up. You couldn't really see it, but her face, like the tears streaming down her face and just like the shaking of the head. And like, it's like you want to scream, you want to call out for help, but you like can't. Like, anytime something has happened, I've just had to like internalize it. I told my therapist, it's like swallowing a sword. Like you just have to choke on it, and you like know you're being cut up, you know the blood's coming out, you know like the bile and all the things are coming out, but you just have to eat it because you know if you say something like it's gonna come back on you. Like there's been times I have spoken at before at the workplace and like gone to HR and asked for confidentiality, and then it backfired and I got attacked for it. I got ostracized, I got fucking bullied. So this is so bad, but I kind of took a code of silence, and like that silence is violence. You have all this violent shit happening to you and you can't do nothing because nobody cares, and they're like, oh, it's all in your head. Like literally I thought I was going crazy these last several weeks. Like my mind was not in a good place. Like I thought something was wrong with me. I was like, why can't I get a hang of this job? I was like, oh, maybe if I give it time, why can't I get on board? I was like, because this isn't me, this isn't genuine. And when I'm doing stuff that's not in my will, like, what am I trying to say? When I'm doing stuff that doesn't feel intentional or genuine to me, it eats at me because I'm a person who picks up on vibes. I'm very empathetic. I read into everything. I read energy. First sign you're acting different, I'm okay, I'm going back in my show because you acting funny towards me. And that's how I was at work. Like I just was internalizing so much, and I felt so sad, so drained. I don't know how I did it. And I'm in school too. And I have a fucking Saturday class at that. I have two classes. I'm taking a humanities class, and then I'm taking a environmental science class. Remind me to tell you about my environmental science teacher because this man, he be stressing me out. One of my classmates who I became real cool with, she was like, sis, he reminds me of what's the man's name? The dad from Tarzan, Jane's dad. This man literally, he stresses me out because I'm like, you have a PhD and you acting like a turtle right now. Like, remind me, I'm gonna do a story time or something on him later because this man, I'm gonna do like a demonstration. You're gonna gag because I be in the class like, sir, you are wasting our time. I did not pay $500-600 for you to BS me. Like, he's a real, and the thing is, he's like a really nice person, but he can't teach worth a like, we think he's like going senile or something because he just be forget. Like, he'll be like, okay, class, we're gonna what was I gonna say? We're gonna do this lab, and then we're gonna do lecture, and he'll just switch it up in the middle, and you'd be like, what? The good thing is though, he give us an hour for break because our class is like 11:10 to 5:10. It is brutal for, you know, going to work 40 hours a week and then having to go to campus. But I like my classmates. They kind of lit and kind of crazy. But I have always wanted to talk about this. It took me so long to realize that work, like all my childhood issues, like are just repeating themselves at work, and it just keeping me in this like loop or this cycle, and I did not realize it. Like I just thought it was normal. I thought, oh, okay, it'll get better. Maybe I just need to find the right company. And even with my current company, again, not trying to bash, but this is just how I feel. This is how, you know, as people say my truth, like they were like, oh, we're so great. We have this, we have that. And I almost like fell for it in a sense, and maybe fall for it is the wrong phrase, but I believed them. I bought into it. I was like, oh, they're so much better than my last place. My last place was so toxic. It was like eating me alive. And I went through like fucking relentless bullying there too. I'll remind me to tell you about that. I have so many stories, girl. Like it's insane. But but I thought it was better than the last. It was and it wasn't. And like I thought that it wouldn't be as damaging on my mental health, but it's unfortunately their culture is, oh, we like you if you're doing exactly how we do things. If you do it different, it's a no-go for you. Like you have to like assimilate into their culture. They're not open-minded enough to accept something different. And I knew I was different. I was sticking out like a sore thumb. I was like, I'm a Black woman with a full head of hair with my natural hair. I'm wearing an afro. I'm the darkest one here outside of maybe one or two other people because we have people from other races there. There's two people there that one is Middle Eastern, I believe, and the other is mixed Mexican and indigenous, like Hawaiian or something like that. But I was the only Black one there, and I felt it. Your otherness sticks out. You almost can't help it. Like it doesn't matter how much you try to fit in, how much you try to get into fit in, like it just does not work. And I was like, I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl. These people are like full 3-piece suits, like very fancy. I was like, I'm not used to this. I'm very much like roll up my sleeves, get to work, let's get it out the mud. Like I don't mind doing office work. I love doing administrative work. Like I'm really good at it. But at the same time, I was like, stylistically, we're so differently. Even the way that they work is different. I was like, I work well with planning, with having a set routine. If you keep changing the routine and keep changing the training, I'm not going to master anything. And that was another thing I struggled with, like finding my rhythm. I was like, I've been here like 7 or 8 months and I don't feel like I'm confident in my job. I'm only confident in like one or two pieces, and there's so many moving pieces. And then it wasn't just HR, it was like business, it was other things all tied together. And I didn't feel strongly in that because my last role I was very limited and pigeonholed. So it was like a culture shock for me, but also the standards were so high, the expectations were so high, and I felt like I couldn't keep up. And I felt like I was literally fucking drowning at my wits' end. And I was like, if I was thinking to myself, if I was white, would they be acting like this? And I was like, I don't know. Like I'd love to be like a fly on the wall and see the next person that comes in after me and see if their experience is the same. Is it in my head? Is it just me? But I knew something was off. I was like, I'm not that connection is not gelling. I'm very good with people. I fuck with people. I want everybody to eat. I want everybody to win. And I was like, even at my last job, as crazy as it can be, as chaotic as it can be, there was a lot of people that I looked out for and looked out for me. And we had like a really good kindred working relationship. Like I knew their style, I knew what they wanted. I knew how to satisfy them. This one, I didn't feel like I could do that. They were like, oh, you're doing great. You're doing great. But I was like, how come I don't feel great? I don't feel confident about my work. I don't feel like I'm hitting that mark like I normally do. Like normally I come in and I kill it. Like I'm a smart person, but there I felt so stupid. I felt so little. I felt so small. And I was like, I don't want to feel like this no more. Like I want to wake up and I want to be happy. And I was like, how do I do that? And I had been struggling with this since I started. And I just, I felt like I was getting eaten alive. I was like, I can't place my finger on it, but I was like, this job is stressing me out in a way that's different than the other ones. And I've always felt called to do art, to write, to perform, to like, I want to write books, I want to write poetry. That's what I'm going to school for. But it's kind of like the 9 to 5 takes over to the point that you don't even have any energy to expend to create. And I was like thinking, me and my husband had a long talk last night. Like I was trying to explain to him that I really want to do this, that I want to pursue this. And I was like, I know that money is going to be funky, but I was like, just trust me, like it's going to work out. I was like, I don't know how, I don't know when. I just know like, I know I'm good. I know I'm covered. Like I don't need to worry about it. I'm not supposed to worry about it. All I'm supposed to do is create. The rest will come. It'll be fine. But like, I forgot where I was going with that, but I knew something was wrong. I knew I needed to, it was like I said to my therapist, I was like, it was like a mirror. And if someone just keeps tapping the mirror and then you see like chinks or cracks in the mirror, you're like, oh, look closer. And then you start seeing stuff for what it really is. It was very subtle. It was like the racism was there, but it was just very subtle. And I was like, oh, and not even just that, but like the assimilate. We're not gonna change for you. You need to change for us. And I was like, I've been doing that for like the last 10 or 11 years and I don't want to do that shit no more. I was like, art makes me happy. Like I feel like I soar when I fucking write. Like it feels spiritual. It feels divine. Like I feel like I'm connected to God. I feel like I'm connected to my higher self, to like my ancestors. Like it's very important to me that I create. And I don't really have anybody in my family that does it too. So there's also like that element of, oh, go get a job, work there for 20, 30 years, pay off your house, have a couple kids, send them to college, whoop-de-whoop. And I was like, that doesn't satisfy me. I'm not a person wired like that. I'm a person who kind of likes to, you know, as bad as my anxiety is, like the reason I love creativity is because of the flow. Like you don't have control of it. It just comes out of you. You're like a vessel or it's like a radio. Like, you know, you fine tune the frequency, you fine tune the channel and you get to, you know, your piece or your product. But I felt so stifled. I felt so like unstimulated, underserved. Like I was like, I want to be happy, but I don't know what that looks like. Like I'm telling you, every other part of my life is fine. Mental health was shaky, but I bet you there's going to be a different me that comes out of this because I'm not in an environment where I'm stunted, where I'm challenged, where I'm triggered all day long. And it's like other people don't get it. When you have PTSD, stuff that would stress other people out or wouldn't stress other people out stresses you out because it's tied to that event that traumatized you. And I'm 30. I've been faced with back-to-back or exposed with back-to-back trauma since I was like 3 or 4, probably my whole life. So I would say probably like the first 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years, you know, somewhere in there. That's over half my life. So now I have to work to undo all this. But it's like your environment, almost like that productive environment type of thing. And even though I'm not in that environment anymore in my personal life, it still persists in my work life. So then it just like fucking swallows me up. And there's no protection, there's no safety for Black people in corporate America. And that was kind of the point, like more mental, more spiritual, more psychological. Like it is so, it takes such a toll on you. Like I'm telling you, I've been so tired. Like I don't sleep at all. Like all I do is just toss and turn all night. I just sometimes, and I'm a light sleeper, so any little thing will wake me up. If I get up to like use the bathroom, I'm just up for the rest of the night. Like I'll get up at like 3:30, 4, and I'll just lay there in the dark, toss and turn, toss and turn, toss and turn. And like um I can't seem to turn my mind off because I think I'm so worried. I'm thinking like what's gonna happen. And also like being harassed in the workplace. I haven't experienced that in my current role, but that's terrifying too, because again, you feel like you have to take a code of silence. And I want other Black people to know that it's okay to leave. It's okay to explore your gifts, and you don't have to know everything. But I see you because I felt so unseen. I felt so invisible. Um, I felt so lost. I felt so hopeless. And I was like, if I could just do art full time, I bet you, bro, I'd be so happy. Like, I don't even care if I don't make the same amount of money because I know I'm doing something I'm passionate about. And to me, that's more fulfilling than a paycheck. A paycheck where I'm still going to struggle every week, or can I create or curate my own destiny? And that's the type of time I'm on. I'm like, I don't want to do shit that wastes my time. I want to do stuff that's productive, that makes me feel good. What makes me feel good is writing poetry, performing it, giving someone a place to escape, giving someone a place to land, because books have literally saved my effing life. Like when I didn't have nothing else, when I was getting my fucking ass beat and destroyed mentally and physically and verbally by my parents, the one thing I had was books and movies and music. Like art literally saved me. Like I feel like my body would like leave and go on the pages. Like I had somewhere to be safe and to be seen and bring me joy and see myself in other characters and enter their worlds. And then you start caring about them and you form this connection. You're like, oh, I see myself in this person, or someone in my family or my friend or even my spouse or my partner. Like I want to give that same feeling back because I know how important it is. And I shudder to think of a world without books or without literature, because words are just so powerful. Like your tongue is so powerful. And I know that God put this gift inside of me to use, and I've been running from it for years. It seems so random, but I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel. Like I admire people that do this because I'm like, it's hard. Like it's hard making it like something that people want to come back to. That's really difficult. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm like, I just want to do it. Like I um I have always admired like the time and energy, the editing, the stories that people curate, their opinions. I like hearing people's opinions. And I think like later on down the line, I'd do a podcast. I don't know who I'd do it with or if anybody would even want to do it with me, but I have so many ideas that aren't with the norm or the typical opinion, like Diddy and stuff like that. I think one of my coworkers was like, you need to write a podcast about that. And I'm like, yeah, when the time comes. Like I'm just kind of going, like I'm going so off the cuff. Like this idea came to me yesterday after my session. I was like, tomorrow's video, I have no fucking clue what I'm gonna record. I was like, I'm just gonna record it and see where it gets me. Like I don't have a plan. My plan, I don't have a set plan. I don't really have notes or anything. I'm just going off what God puts inside of me or what I think or what stuck with me. Like this morning I woke up at like 6:30 and I was like, damn, I gotta go to the bathroom. You know, when you lazy, you don't want to get out the bed. And I was like, damn, I can't stop thinking about this video. Like I try to shut my eyes and go back to sleep. And I was like, I can't stop thinking about it. I was like, that means I need to record it. Like I was like, God's like, get up, get up. It's time. Like, and like I still have work today, but I'm just like, I I feel so good. I feel so like happy that I'm finally taking this step, because this is probably like 10 years in the making. Even before I met my husband, I wanted to do this. I had tried and failed. I failed so many times. I wanted to give up so many times because I was like, life is just lifing. Like I'm drained. It's kicking my ass. Like I don't feel happy. I was like, adulthood is so hard. To put food on the table is so hard. To cover everything, your bills, and still have money to play. And the cost of living is expensive. Inflation is just at an all-time high. It just feels like you can't breathe. You can't step out of your norm, your comfort, because you're like that safety net. You want that safety net. You want somewhere to land. You want to know that you're not going to fall, that you're not going to drown. But it's like sometimes you can't worry about that. And that's coming from someone with severe anxiety. Like I overthink and want control of everything. And my husband is so laid back. He's so chill. He's like water. He just flows, like stuff just comes to him. And I'm like, I want to be like that. The best gift you can give yourself is a calm nervous system, is a calm mind. And I'm telling you, I know that that's coming, and I know that I won't be as traumatized and I won't be in like zombie mode anymore because I'm finally pursuing my passion. I'm finally doing the stuff that I said I want to do, but I have been too scared to do because I've been conditioned to not step outside this box. But I'm telling you, I feel so free. I feel so calm. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm on camera looking crazy. I'm in my fucking pajamas. Like, my afro is probably lopsided, but I'm like, bruh, I feel so happy. I feel like it's time. Like, and I have been applying for jobs and stuff. And I had started talking to people and they're like, yeah, we're going to call you back. Do you think I've heard a fucking thing? And I'm like, that's a sign. And also because my mom was like, you know, holidays, like holiday season is hard to get a job because they're not hiring as much. But I feel it's time. I'm not getting responses back. I'm not seeing the type of job I want. I'm like, so I make it. I make it. You make it. And I feel so good because I'm like, yeah, that's like the timing is divine. It's in alignment. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do about money. I don't know how am I gonna pay my bills in the next month or two. Like next month I should be okay, maybe 1 month after that. But I'm like, after that, I don't know. I don't know about Thanksgiving. I don't know about Christmas. I haven't even told all my family that I quit my job. I only told my mom, literally my mom. My husband knows, my mom, and like 2 or 3 of my friends, and now you guys, because I done told y'all all my business. But I I was like so concerned, like what will they think of me? Will they judge me? Will they think I'm a loser? I've quit jobs before. I can't keep a job. But it's like, no, you can't keep it because you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to make your own destiny. You're supposed to make your own path. And I've been too afraid. And I was like, bro, I don't want to spend my 30s doing that. I spent my 20s doing that. I don't want to spend another 10 years. That's 20 years of me not doing what I'm supposed to do. You keep running away from it, it's just going to keep chasing you. And I've always felt like in the back of my ear or the back of my mind, that there's a voice telling me like you need to be doing this, and I just been ignoring it. And it's probably my intuition and it's probably God or you know my spirit guides or ancestors, but I just been too afraid, too creeping in my own shadow. And my mom told me, she was like, when you're ready to share your art, she said you will, and it's going to take off for you. And I sincerely believe that's what's about to happen. I'm calling it. I'm manifesting it. I love you guys, and I hope you have a good day, and I hope you like this video even though I was all over the place. See you tomorrow. Bye.